Okay, so this is going to be probably the most raw video that I've done. Just going to do a one take voiceover for this workout that I did last week. This is my second upper body training session of the week. It's focused on vertical push and pull movements. I'm actually about to go to the gym straight after this and do this again. The first few movements that you can see here are some very, specific mobility work that I do in my routine, primarily to obviously get me warmed up for the training session, make sure the right muscle groups are firing, but also to loosen up my upper back, thoracic spine, which is quite a tight area for me just due to the fact that I spend a fair bit of time at my desk. So a lot of the movements that I'm doing here, we will put in my client training programs as well to help them loosen that area up, because we generally work with professionals, spend a lot of time at a desk, a decent amount of time driving in taxis and stuff like that, and the thoracic spine does tend to get quite locked up. So what you saw before was just a single arm passive hang from the bar, basically just trying to lengthen the lats and also load them slightly. A really great exercise to do before going and doing shoulder press, lat pull down, pull-ups, things like that, which I am going to do later on this workout, as you can see. Second movement here is it's a glute bridge single arm hang. So it looks a little bit strange, but basically what we're trying to do here is fire up the scapula and get those muscles kind of like in the mid and upper back that are often quite weak on people, get them firing, because to hold yourself in this position, it does take a lot of upper back and upper body strength. So that's what I'm doing here. I held the position for about 20 to 30 seconds each side on each arm. And I'm doing this whole warm-up circuit. I think I did it 3 times because I was feeling quite stiff on this day. The third movement is a glute bridge pullover, but you can see here I'm letting my hips dip. And the reason that I'm doing that is because the more you let your hips drop, the more kind of stress and the harder it's going to be. It's going to put more pressure on the upper back. So essentially what we're doing here is we're using the dumbbell to create a good bit of load and gain that kind of active mobility there. And I'm feeling a really, really good stretch in my upper back. So this is a great one to put in your upper body warm-up routine if you do have a little bit of a stiffer back. But obviously at the same time, we're lengthening and loading the lats. Again, making it a really good movement to do prior to any upper body training session. The next one, single arm lateral press. So we're getting a good stretch through the side of the hip and also the lat as well. Just warming things up. As I say, I think it's four or five movements in this warm-up routine. It probably will take you, it took me about 10 minutes. And I certainly think it's worth doing, spending that amount of time warming up, if it's going to lead to you having a better quality training session, because not only are you going to reduce the risk of injury, but the more activated the right muscle groups are, for example the lats and the shoulders here, the better training session you're going to have. You're going to be able to lift heavier and more safely. It's going to obviously transfer over to strength, which obviously will transfer over to your physique progression as well. Obviously training outside here at the gym I've been going to most of the time at the moment is called Wellfit in Meydan in Dubai, but it's getting very hot now, so I think this week will be the last week that I do train outside, because it's literally getting so hot where the bar's burning my back when I'm doing back squats and things like that. And then the last movement of this round, with this warm-up round, was dumbbell pec flies, basically just getting a nice stretch through the chest. As I say, it does look a little bit excessive in terms of warm-up length, but if you do this quickly, it won't take you any longer than 10 minutes. And then in terms of the actual strength training session, which you'll see in a moment, probably don't even take much longer than 50 minutes on my working main compound movements, because we're focusing on intensity, driving tension into the muscle, only resting for 90 seconds to 2 minutes on the main compounds. So in and out of the gym within an hour and 15, warm-ups, and then I usually do a few steps on the treadmill as well at the end, because it's quite hard to hit your step count over here in Dubai. But I did 20 reps on this. Again, not targeting the chest today, but nonetheless it is a really good movement to just open up the chest, get the upper back opened as well. So the main compound movement of the day was a heavy lat pull down. Now I had the choice in my program here to do heavy weighted pull-ups or heavy lat pull downs. I've chosen to do pull downs because I'm really trying to focus on my physique at the moment, and I feel like I get a better mind muscle connection with my lats when I do a pull down versus pull up. That doesn't mean that pull ups aren't good. I've done pull ups for 10 years, and they've really helped me progress my upper body strength and build muscle in the upper body too. But I'm enjoying focusing on pull downs at the moment. So the rep range structure that I was doing on this training session is what we call cluster sets. So essentially it's where you do 3 mini sets of one exercise. So for example, here with the heavy lat pull down, I was doing 4 reps, then I was resting for 15 seconds, then doing another 4 reps, then resting 15 seconds, then doing another 4 reps, and that is one set. And then you would rest for 2 minutes and then go again 4 times. So essentially the reason that you're doing this is, so if we're getting 12 total reps in one big cluster set, if we were to do that without rest, I could probably only get 6 to 8 reps. So essentially it's allowing you to get more reps out in one kind of giant set than you would before. So you're getting used to handling more load for more reps basically. So it's a really, really good way to build strength, so that when you go back into a higher volume block of training where you focus more on hypertrophy, in theory you should be stronger, which will again transfer over to greater amounts of muscle being built. So this was another cluster set here. I think I filmed the entire thing here, so you'll see what I mean. So I think it was 4 heavy reps here. It was pretty heavy. It was over my body weight, which is why you can see me kind of like hover at the start of the rep. So I literally just chose to stay right there when I was resting, because it, you know, in terms of getting yourself locked into the machine, it takes a little bit of time. So I think about 15 seconds rest, and then you go again, and I think it was another 4 reps here. But yeah, you can see it's pretty heavy, struggling to get down there and lock the knees in. That's always the issue with doing really, really heavy lat pull downs. I'm trying to see if it was 3 or 4 reps per cluster. It's 3. Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it was heavy 3s this week. It was heavy 4s the week before, and then it's 3 clusters per set. But yeah, this was pretty taxing to say the least. But quite happy with how I'm looking at the moment. This was the week of my half marathon race, which I've got another video to upload to explain how that went. Actually, went really well. So I did push it on the upper body training this week, but I really pulled back on the lower body training intensity just to make sure the legs were fresh. But since then, I've actually leaned down a little bit. I've switched my macro splits slightly, which I will explain in another video. But happy with how I'm looking. I'm eating the most food that I've eaten in a long time. So it's showing that my metabolism is in a good spot. It's putting me in a good position to drop a kilo or so just for a holiday that I'm going on in July. As I say, I'm fairly lean. I'm probably 12% body fat. So if I can get down, I will be able to get down to 10% with relative ease. And that's the beauty of doing, you know, a hard fat loss phase, getting very lean, and then still controlling your nutrition and building your calories back up slowly. Your metabolism will start to respond. Your performance at the gym will improve. You'll be able to build a little bit of muscle while staying lean. And, you know, to give a bit of context, I ended my fat loss phase at the end of February at about 2,700 calories on average, which is very, very low for me. And at the moment, I'm eating about 3,300 on average. And I've only put on about 1 kilo to 1.5 kilos, which a lot of that will be muscle glycogen. Obviously, there will be a little bit of body fat there as well. But it means that, you know, if I want to trim down for a holiday and lose 1 kilo, I can probably do that by just increasing my daily steps per day by about 2,000 and dropping calories by about 200, 300 per day, which really won't make things that difficult for me. So that's the plan going forward. But what you saw before was half kneeling Arnold press, 8 reps on each side, nice and heavy there, and then some L-sit pull-ups basically to work the lats and the core as well. And then I finished off the training session with some GHD sit-ups. So there were some movements that I didn't video in this video just because the gym was really busy, but this covers the majority of the training session. Obviously very raw, but hopefully it's given you a little bit of an insight into how I warm up for training sessions, some of the movements that I do. As I say, always follow these principles of warming up and activating the right muscle groups prior to the training sessions with all our clients on the program. So if you're interested in hearing more about how our coaching program works, just fill in the inquiry link below and I'll be in touch to arrange a call where I can run over your goals and give you some advice. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed the video. Cheers.